Picture one of Hollywood's most untouchable couples, the matching magazine covers, the adorable interviews, the perfectly timed social media captions, and then picture all of it just disappearing overnight. Not the people, the image, the decade-long brand. Destroyed. Not by a secret scandal or a leaked DM, by a legal war they started themselves. And the worst part? The internet watched every single second of it collapse in real time. When celebrities fall, it usually happens fast. One scandal, one viral moment, then damage control until the public forgets. But this kept getting bigger every time it was supposed to quiet down. Every press statement made the headlines worse. Every lawyer interview poured gasoline. Every polished, strategy-tested quote somehow made things messier than silence ever could have. Because here's the thing about PR machines when they're working. You don't see them. When they start failing, you absolutely cannot look away. We're talking about Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds. And the lawsuit against It Ends With Us director Justin Baldoni that turned a workplace dispute into the most chaotic celebrity war in recent memory. Just when everyone thought it was finally winding down, when the word settlement started floating, it exploded again. Harder, messier, more personal than anyone expected. Here's where things went from messy to genuinely chaotic. Blake came into this swinging hundreds of millions in damages, serious accusations, giant headlines everywhere, and then 10 claims got dismissed. Then the rest quietly disappeared. No courtroom showdown, no dramatic evidence reveal. No moment where Blake stood in front of a jury and proved everything she'd been saying for months. Nothing. And then her legal team immediately started running to every outlet possible. TMZ, Entertainment Tonight, Variety, Daily Mail, calling this a historic victory. And the internet looked at that victory tour and went, "What exactly did you win?" That's when Justin Baldoni's attorney Brian Friedman decided he was done being polite. He came out and said Blake Lively was terrified of the witness stand. That cross-examination would have forced her to answer difficult questions under oath. And that's exactly why this never went to trial. That one comment alone sent social media into a spiral. People started digging back into every detail that had faded from the headlines. The allegations that Blake asked Sony to destroy the dailies. The Colleen Hoover situation. The behind-the-scenes chaos during production that keeps looking darker the more you examine it. And people were absolutely not letting it go. Then Blake's attorney Sigrid McCauley went on Entertainment Tonight, and people lost their minds, not because of what she revealed, but because of how she framed it. Sigrid positioned Blake as a brave survivor who endured a horrifying experience and emerged fighting for women everywhere. Critics pushed back immediately. The question flooding every comment section, every thread, every reaction video was devastatingly simple. Survived what exactly? Because this isn't some unknown actress with no resources fighting alone. Blake Lively is married to Ryan Reynolds, one of the wealthiest actors alive. Teams of lawyers, teams of publicists. Direct lines to every major media outlet on the planet. When her attorney started using the word silenced, people genuinely started laughing. How was Blake Lively silenced? She had front-page coverage everywhere for months. The silenced victim narrative didn't just feel off. It felt insulting to the people watching, and then came the moment that crystallized everything. The interviewer asked whether Blake's Met Gala appearance, showing up glamorous, fully photographed, while the controversy-dominated headlines, was strategic. Sigrid immediately pivoted. Retaliation campaigns, online harassment. The actual question just vanished, and every single viewer saw it happen. People were furious, not because attending the Met Gala is wrong, but because nobody would just acknowledge how terrible the timing looked. Critics were already accusing Blake of staging image repair appearances. The dodge confirmed exactly what they suspected, that every move was calculated and the calculation was getting exposed in real time. That's when the conversation around Ryan Reynolds started getting seriously loud. People stopped treating Blake like she was acting alone. More and more outlets dragged Ryan directly into the chaos, saying this stopped being a workplace dispute and became a couple's PR war. Every time things calmed down, another statement appeared, another insider leak, another interview. The drama restarted like someone kept hitting reset. Meanwhile, Blake attended the Met Gala alone. Ryan wasn't there. Couples attend events separately all the time. That's completely normal. But because the internet is the internet, people immediately started speculating. Rumors were already circulating that Ryan privately wanted Blake to settle before things got this bad. Whether true or not, the optics were impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Brian Friedman kept coming back with brutally direct responses that sounded less like legal statements and more like someone losing patience with an entire performance. He basically said Blake Lively refuses to take accountability for anything, that if someone can't honestly examine their own behavior, it creates a very troubled existence. The anti-Blake corner of the internet absolutely devoured that, because they'd been saying exactly that for months. Then insiders started talking to outlets and the gossip world fully detonated. One source claimed Justin genuinely believed the truth would protect him, that he didn't want to silence anyone because he thought the facts would eventually come out. Whether people believe that or not, it changed the energy completely. Suddenly, Baldoni looked calmer, more collected, quietly dignified, while Blake's side looked increasingly loud, aggressive, and chaotic by comparison. That's probably the wildest part of this entire saga. The guy who got publicly dragged at the start ended up walking away with people calling him calm, spiritual, and unfairly targeted. Then the international press arrived, and they were not kind. The Telegraph basically wrote that Blake and Ryan went from being Hollywood's golden couple to completely embarrassing public figures during this ordeal. They described the legal battle as a mudslinging competition where nobody looked good. That line got passed around everywhere because it perfectly captured what a huge portion of the audience was already feeling. Daily Mail went even harder, framing this as one of the biggest celebrity self-destruction stories in years, openly suggesting Blake and Ryan allegedly tried to destroy Justin Baldoni professionally, and that the whole thing backfired spectacularly. Before all this, Blake mostly had a polished reputation. Glamorous, funny, the perfect celebrity wife. After, mean girl, bully, manipulative. Those words kept trending. That shift alone is enormous in Hollywood because public perception is literally the entire game. Sigrid Macaulay kept running a media tour that critics started calling a masterclass in how not to manage a crisis. She pushed Blake as a brave activist fighting to change laws around retaliation and defamation. Except the messaging kept evolving. First, this was workplace harassment, then retaliation, then emotional harm, then public smearing, now survivor advocacy. And people noticed the story seemed to shift based on whatever angle was generating the most sympathy that particular week. When Sigrid started using the word abuser to describe Baldoni, after most of the major legal claims had already collapsed, it triggered another massive backlash wave. Critics accused Blake's team of trying to permanently destroy someone's reputation with language the actual legal proceedings couldn't support anymore. And here's the problem nobody can ignore. Blake almost never speaks directly herself. It's always the lawyers, the statements, the carefully timed leaks. Her team sounds polished, strategic, legally bulletproof, and completely cold. Meanwhile, Baldoni's side sounds raw, frustrated, genuinely human, and audiences almost always connect more with whoever feels more real. That's not about who's right. That's just how this works. Hollywood insiders are reportedly exhausted. Some executives want this entire thing to disappear because it's become toxic for everyone involved. There are whispers that industry people privately think Blake made a catastrophic, strategic mistake by continuing to publicly fight after settlements became obvious. Because here's what nobody can stop bringing up. If the evidence was truly overwhelming, if this was always going to be the slam dunk case Blake's team promised, why didn't it go to trial? Brian Friedman asked exactly that out loud to the press. If this was really about survivors, why not take the stand and prove it? That line became one of the most repeated quotes of the entire controversy because it lands differently every single time you hear it. Blake's supporters say the legal environment became hostile and she shouldn't have had to relive everything in court. Baldoni's supporters say it proves she knew cross-examination would be catastrophic. Neither side is convincing the other. The debate has locked into two camps screaming past each other. Nobody is moving.